Without these 25 plants, your diabetes, blood pressure, and cholesterol will never go away. What if I told you that some of the most protein-packed foods on the planet are not hiding in the butcher case? They are not in the frozen chicken aisle, but growing quietly in fields, forests, and maybe even your own backyard. Most people do not know this, but while we are all obsessing over steaks and protein shakes, there are plant foods out there. These foods match or even exceed the protein content of meat gram for gram. These are plants with amino acid profiles. This would make a bodybuilder do a double take. These are plants that athletes, doctors, and scientists are paying attention to. And today, I am going to show you 20 of them that will change the way you think about protein forever. Make sure you hit that subscribe button because we post new videos every week that connect real nutritional science with knowledge. This empowers you to take charge of your health. Stick around because number 14 on this list has more protein than a steak. This food has been feeding entire civilizations for thousands of years. And number 20 is so protein-dense that NASA studied it as the ideal food for long-duration space missions. Astronauts are not exactly known for messing around with their nutrition. So let us get into it. Here are 20 plant foods that have more protein than meat, ranked from impressive to absolutely incredible. Plant 1. Green peas. The backyard protein nobody respects. Let us start with something most people completely overlook. Green peas. Those little round things sitting on the side of your plate that you probably pushed around as a kid. But here's what nobody tells you. A cup of green peas packs about 9 grams of protein. That is more protein per serving than a whole egg. And unlike a lot of plant foods, peas contain all 9 amino acids. This makes them a surprisingly complete protein source. Modern sports nutrition companies have caught on in a massive way. Pea protein isolate is now one of the fastest growing segments in the protein supplement industry. Clinical studies show pea protein supports muscle growth and recovery just as effectively as whey in controlled trials. Here is what makes peas special from a nutritional standpoint. They are also loaded with fiber, iron, and B vitamins. You are not just getting protein. You are getting a nutritional package that most animal proteins simply cannot match. Traditional use goes back thousands of years. Peas were a staple crop across Europe and Asia, feeding armies and civilizations. This was long before anyone counted macros. Peas got overlooked simply because they are common. They are not exotic or trendy. But for anyone serious about getting more protein, the humble green pea is extraordinarily undervalued. Think of it as the protein source that has been sitting on your plate your whole life, just waiting for you to take it seriously. Plant 2. Lentils, the ancient protein that built empires. Lentils have been feeding humans for over 10,000 years. They show up in archaeological sites across the Middle East. There is a reason every ancient civilization kept coming back to them. 1 cup of cooked lentils delivers roughly 18 grams of protein. That is more than 2 eggs and comparable to a serving of ground beef, and they cost a fraction of the price. Modern nutritional research has validated what our ancestors already knew. Lentils are packed with protein, fiber, folate, and iron. Studies show regular lentil consumption is associated with better blood sugar control, improved heart health, and lower cholesterol levels. Here is what makes lentils a nutritional powerhouse. They are one of the fastest cooking legumes, requiring no soaking. Red lentils cook in 15 minutes. You can add them to soups, stews, salads, or blend them into sauces. The versatility is unmatched. Lentils got pushed aside when cheap industrially produced meat became the norm. But those cheap meats come with their own costs, both to your health and your wallet. Long-term lentils offer what they have offered since the dawn of agriculture. They provide dense, affordable, reliable protein that sustains life. It is the food that literally built civilizations. And it costs less than $1 per serving. Plant 3 hemp seeds. The misunderstood superfood. Let us address the elephant in the room. Yes, hemp is related to that plant. No, hemp seeds will not get you high. What they will do is deliver 10 grams of complete protein per 3 tablespoon serving. That is more protein by weight than most cuts of beef. Hemp seeds contain all 9 essential amino acids. They are also rich in omega-3 and omega-6 fatty acids in an ideal ratio that supports heart health. Modern research shows hemp protein is highly bioavailable, meaning your body can actually absorb and use what you eat. Here is the traditional angle. Hemp has been cultivated for over 10,000 years across Asia and Europe. It was one of the earliest domesticated plants grown for food fiber and medicine. Entire economies were built around it. Hemp seeds disappeared from Western diets primarily due to legal confusion with their psychoactive cousin. That confusion has largely been resolved, but the stigma lingers. Meanwhile, hemp seeds remain one of the most complete and nutrient-dense protein sources available. Think of it as the seed that got punished for its family name, but never stopped being one of the most powerful foods on Earth. Plant 4 nutritional yeast, the cheese that is not cheese. This one throws people off. Nutritional yeast is a deactivated yeast that comes in flakes or powder and tastes remarkably like cheese. 2 tablespoons deliver about 8 grams of complete protein. And here is what makes nutritional yeast genuinely remarkable. Most brands are fortified with B12, the one vitamin that is notoriously difficult to get from plant sources. So you are getting protein and solving one of the biggest nutritional gaps in plant-based eating in a single sprinkle. Nutritional yeast also contains fiber, zinc, and a range of B vitamins that support energy metabolism and nervous system function. Studies show the beta-glucans in nutritional yeast support immune function and may help reduce cholesterol. Here is the practical angle. You can sprinkle it on popcorn, stir it into pasta, blend it into sauces, or use it anywhere you would use Parmesan. It dissolves easily and adds a savory, umami-rich depth to everything it touches. Nutritional yeast got overlooked because it sounds weird. The name does it no favors. But for anyone looking for a versatile, complete protein source that also happens to taste incredible, it is one of the best-kept secrets in nutrition. Plant 5 black beans, the protein the Americas were built on. Black beans have been a dietary cornerstone of Central and South American cultures for over 7,000 years. And modern science is confirming what those cultures have always known. 1 cup of cooked black beans delivers 15 grams of protein along with 15 grams of fiber. That combination of protein and fiber creates a sustained energy release that keeps you fuller longer than most animal proteins. Research published in major nutrition journals shows black beans improve gut health support, blood sugar regulation, and are associated with reduced risk of heart disease and certain cancers. The anthocyanins that give black beans their dark color are powerful antioxidants. Here is the beauty of black beans. They are cheap, shelf-stable, endlessly versatile, and available everywhere. From burritos to soups to salads to veggie burgers, black beans do it all. They got sidelined in mainstream nutrition simply because beans were not considered glamorous. But glamour does not build health. Consistent, nutrient-dense food does. Think of it as the protein that fed civilizations across 2 continents for millennia. Still costs practically nothing and still delivers. Plant 6 quinoa, the grain that is not a grain. Quinoa has gotten a lot of attention in the last decade, and for good reason. 1 cup of cooked quinoa provides 8 grams of complete protein, meaning it contains all 9 essential amino acids. That is rare for a plant food. The Incas called it the mother of all grains and considered it sacred. They understood something that modern nutrition science took thousands of years to catch up to. Quinoa is not actually a grain at all. It is a seed, and it delivers protein alongside magnesium, iron, fiber, and manganese. Studies show quinoa protein quality is comparable to casein, the protein in milk. It is also naturally gluten-free, which makes it accessible to people with celiac disease or gluten sensitivities. Here is the practical angle. Quinoa cooks in 15 minutes, works as a base for bowls, salads, stir-fries, or even as a breakfast porridge. It absorbs flavors beautifully and has a pleasant, slightly nutty texture. Quinoa was forgotten for centuries after Spanish colonizers suppressed its cultivation. But the Incas knew what they had, and now the rest of the world is finally figuring it out. Plant 7 edamame, the snack that outperforms chicken. Here is a stat that shocks people. 1 cup of edamame, those young green soybeans you get at Japanese restaurants, delivers 18.5 grams of complete protein. That is more than a 3-ounce serving of chicken breast per calorie. Edamame is one of the few plant foods that is a complete protein with all essential amino acids. It is also rich in folate, vitamin K fiber, and isoflavones that research links to improved heart health and bone density. Modern clinical studies show soy protein supports muscle protein synthesis and cardiovascular health. The old myth about soy and hormone disruption has been thoroughly debunked by large-scale meta-analyses published in peer-reviewed journals. Here is the simple truth about edamame. You can steam it, toss it in salads, add it to grain bowls, or just eat it straight as a snack. It takes 5 minutes to prepare. Edamame has been a staple in East Asian diets for thousands of years. Those populations have some of the longest lifespans and lowest rates of heart disease on Earth. That is not a coincidence. Plant 8 Tempeh, the fermented powerhouse. Tempeh takes soy to the next level. This traditional Indonesian food is made from fermented whole soybeans, and 1 cup packs a staggering 31 grams of protein. That is more than a 5-ounce serving of beef. But here is what makes tempeh special beyond the numbers. The fermentation process breaks down phytic acid, which means your body absorbs more of the minerals. It also creates probiotics that support gut health. You are getting protein and digestive support in the same food. Research shows fermented soy products like tempeh are associated with improved gut microbiome diversity, better nutrient absorption, and reduced inflammation markers. Here is the practical side. Tempeh has a firm, nutty texture that holds up to grilling, stir-frying, baking, and crumbling into sauces. It absorbs marinades beautifully and develops a satisfying, meaty chew when cooked properly. Tempeh got overlooked in the West because it looks unfamiliar. The fermentation put some people off, but the Indonesians have been eating it for centuries. And they are not wrong. Think of it as the food that proves fermentation does not just preserve protein, it makes it better. Plant 9 pumpkin seeds, the tiny protein grenades. Do not let the size fool you. 1 ounce of pumpkin seeds, that is a small handful, delivers 9 grams of protein. By weight, pumpkin seeds contain more protein than most cuts of beef. They are also one of the best plant sources of zinc, magnesium, and iron. 3 minerals that are critical for immune function, muscle recovery, and energy production. Studies show pumpkin seed consumption is associated with improved prostate health, better sleep quality due to their tryptophan content, and cardiovascular benefits. Here is what makes pumpkin seeds practical. You can toss them on salads, blend them into smoothies, stir them into oatmeal, or just eat them by the handful. They store easily, travel well, and require zero preparation. Ancient cultures across the Americas prized pumpkin seeds as both food and medicine. They were roasted, ground into pastes, and used in traditional remedies for thousands of years. Pumpkin seeds got overlooked simply because they are a byproduct. People carve the pumpkin and throw the seeds away. That is like throwing away the most nutritious part of the entire plant. Plant 10 Amaranth, the grain the conquistadors tried to erase. This one has a dramatic history. Amaranth was so important to the Aztecs that it was used in religious ceremonies. When the Spanish conquistadors arrived, they banned amaranth cultivation specifically to destroy Aztec culture. That is how powerful this food was considered. 1 cup of cooked amaranth delivers 9 grams of protein with a particularly impressive amino acid profile, including high levels of lysine, which is the amino acid most plant proteins lack. Amaranth is also rich in iron, magnesium, phosphorus, and manganese. Modern research shows amaranth protein is highly digestible and has anti-inflammatory properties. Studies demonstrate it supports cardiovascular health and may help lower cholesterol. Here is the practical side. Amaranth can be cooked as a porridge, popped like popcorn, added to baked goods, or used as a thickener in soups. It has a slightly earthy, nutty flavor that works in both sweet and savory applications. Amaranth survived centuries of suppression because people kept growing it in secret. The conquistadors could not kill it, and now it is coming back as one of the most promising protein sources in modern nutrition. Think of it as the grain that empires tried to destroy and could not because it was too valuable to let die. Plant 11. Chia seeds, the endurance fuel of warriors. The Aztecs and Mayans called chia the running food. Warriors and messengers would carry small pouches of chia seeds on long journeys because the energy and protein density was unmatched for the weight. 2 tablespoons of chia seeds deliver 5 grams of protein along with 10 grams of fiber and omega-3 fatty acids, and a remarkable ability to absorb up to 12 times their weight in water. That hydration capacity makes chia exceptional for sustained energy and satiety. Modern sports science has validated the ancient claims. Studies show chia seeds support endurance hydration and post-exercise recovery. The complete amino acid profile and high fiber content create a slow, steady release of energy that outperforms many conventional sports nutrition products. Chia pudding, chia in smoothies, and chia in baking are just a few great uses. The applications are endless and the protein adds up fast when you use it consistently. Chia seeds were nearly lost when colonial powers suppressed indigenous crops. They were rediscovered in the 1990s and have been climbing ever since. The warriors knew what they had. Now you do too. Plant 12 spirulina, the algae astronauts eat. Spirulina is where things get extraordinary. This blue-green algae contains roughly 60 to 70% protein by dry weight. Let me say that again. 60 to 70% protein. For comparison, beef is about 26% protein. Chicken is about 31%. Spirulina nearly triples them both. 2 tablespoons of spirulina powder deliver 8 grams of complete protein along with iron and B vitamins. Powerful antioxidants like phycocyanin are key. Research published in peer-reviewed journals shows spirulina supports immune function. It reduces inflammation, improves cholesterol levels, and may help regulate blood sugar. NASA studied spirulina as a potential food for space missions because of its extraordinary nutrient density and efficient growth requirements. Here is the practical truth. Spirulina has a strong, earthy taste that works best blended into smoothies. You can mix it into energy balls or stir it into juices. You will not eat it like a salad, but you do not need to. A small amount delivers an outsized protein punch. Spirulina has been consumed by cultures in Africa and Central America for centuries. Lake Chad communities and Aztec populations both harvested it as a primary protein source. It got forgotten for a simple reason. To be honest, blue-green algae does not sound appetizing, but for pure protein density, almost nothing on Earth beats it. Plant 13. Chickpeas. The Mediterranean secret weapon. Chickpeas have been a staple across the Middle East and South Asia for centuries. They have been used for over 7,500 years. 1 cup of cooked chickpeas delivers 14.5 grams of protein. This comes alongside fiber, folate, iron, and phosphorus. But here is what makes chickpeas special. Their versatility is genuinely unmatched. Hummus, falafel, chana masala, and roasted chickpea snacks are staples. You can even use chickpea flour for baking. Use aquafaba from the canning liquid for vegan meringues. No other legume has this range. Research shows regular consumption improves satiety. It supports healthy weight management and is associated with better overall nutrient intake. The combination of protein and fiber is powerful. It keeps blood sugar stable and hunger controlled for hours. Chickpeas got pushed aside in Western diets as meat became cheap. But the cultures that never stopped eating them consistently rank among the healthiest and longest lived on Earth. Those Mediterranean and Middle Eastern populations prove the value of this plant. That should tell you something. Plant 14. Mycoproteins and fungi. The protein most people have never heard of. Here is the one I teased at the beginning. Certain fungi, particularly mycoprotein derived from Fusarium venenatum, contain more protein per calorie than a ribeye steak. We are talking about 11 grams of protein per 100 calories compared to beef at 9.5 grams. The amino acid profile is complete. Modern research shows mycoprotein supports muscle synthesis comparably to animal protein. Clinical trials published in the American Journal of Clinical Nutrition demonstrate that mycoprotein consumption results in similar muscle building. These responses are equal to milk protein after resistance exercise. Mushrooms themselves also contribute meaningful amounts of protein. They contain unique compounds like beta-glucans, ergothioneine, and vitamin D that you will not find in any meat. Here is the bigger picture. Fungi are one of the most sustainable protein sources on the planet. They can be grown vertically. They require minimal water and produce protein far more efficiently than livestock. Mycoprotein got overlooked because fungi are unique. They do not fit neatly into the plant or animal category. They are their own kingdom, but that makes them special. Think of it as the protein source that outperforms steak and does not require a single acre of pasture. Plant 15. Peanuts. The protein hiding in plain sight. Peanuts are so common that we have forgotten how remarkable they are. 1 ounce of peanuts delivers 7 grams of protein. A 2-teaspoon serving of peanut butter gives you 8 grams. By weight, peanuts contain more protein than most tree nuts and rival many cuts of meat. Peanuts are also rich in niacin, folate, magnesium, vitamin E, and heart-healthy monounsaturated fats. Large-scale research consistently shows that regular peanut consumption is associated with reduced cardiovascular disease risk and weight management. It is also linked to improved blood lipid profiles. The Harvard Nurses' Health Study is one of the largest ever conducted. It found that people who ate peanuts 5 or more times per week had significantly lower rates of heart disease. Here's the simple truth. Peanut butter on toast might be the most cost-effective high-protein meal on the planet. It costs pennies, requires zero cooking, and delivers genuine nutritional value. Peanuts got overlooked as a serious protein source. This is because they are associated with childhood snacks and ballgame food, but the science does not care about perception. The science says peanuts are one of the most nutrient-dense protein sources available to humans. Plant 16. Tofu, the 2,000-year-old innovation. Tofu has been a protein staple in East Asian cuisine for centuries. It has been used for over 2,000 years. Half a cup of firm tofu delivers about 10 grams of complete protein. This comes along with calcium, iron, and other essential minerals that support a healthy diet. Tofu remains a versatile and powerful plant-based protein for modern health-conscious people. And all essential amino acids. Here is what most Western critics get wrong about tofu. They treat it like a meat substitute when it is actually its own category of food entirely. Tofu is a blank canvas that absorbs whatever flavors you give it. Marinated and grilled, it develops a crispy exterior and satisfying texture. Silken tofu blends into smoothies, desserts, and sauces for added protein without changing the flavor. Modern research conclusively shows soy protein supports heart health, bone density, and muscle maintenance. The American Heart Association recognizes soy protein cardiovascular benefits. Tofu disappeared from Western consideration primarily because of marketing. The meat industry spent decades positioning plant proteins as inferior. But the billions of people across Asia who have been eating tofu for millennia while maintaining lower rates of heart disease and cancer tell a different story. Plant 17. Sacha inchi seeds. The Amazonian protein treasure. Sacha inchi is one of the most remarkable protein sources most people have never heard of. These star-shaped seeds from the Peruvian Amazon contain about 9 grams of complete protein per ounce, along with exceptionally high levels of omega-3 fatty acids. Indigenous Amazonian communities have relied on Sacha inchi for centuries as a primary protein and fat source. The seeds are roasted and eaten whole or pressed into oil. Modern research shows Sacha inchi protein is highly digestible with an amino acid profile comparable to soy. Studies demonstrate anti-inflammatory effects and cardiovascular benefits. Here is why Sacha inchi is emerging now. The global demand for complete plant proteins with healthy fat profiles has created a market that this seed fills perfectly. It is being called the next quinoa by food industry analysts. Sacha inchi remained hidden simply because the Amazon is remote and the seeds were not commercially cultivated until recently. But the indigenous communities always knew what they had. Think of it as the protein the rainforest kept secret until the world was finally ready for it. Plant 18. Seitan, the protein champion of plant-based eating. If you are looking for pure protein density from plants, Seitan is virtually unmatched. A 3-ounce serving delivers 21 grams of protein with a meaty, chewy texture that makes it the closest plant-based analog to actual meat. Seitan is made from vital wheat gluten, and it has been used in Asian Buddhist cuisine for over 1,500 years. Monks developed it as a protein source during periods of meat abstinence, and the techniques have been refined for centuries. The texture is remarkably versatile. Seitan can be grilled sliced for sandwiches, crumbled for tacos, or braised in stews. It takes on marinades and sauces better than almost any other plant protein. Here is the caveat. Seitan is not suitable for people with celiac disease or gluten sensitivity. It is literally made of gluten, but for everyone else it is one of the most protein-dense and culinarily satisfying plant foods available. Seitan got forgotten in the West because wheat gluten was associated with bread making, not protein. But the Buddhist monks who developed it 15 centuries ago understood something modern nutrition is just now appreciating. Plant 19. Moringa leaves. The miracle tree strikes again. Moringa is the overachiever of the plant world, and it deserves its place near the top of this list. Dried moringa leaves contain approximately 27 grams of protein per 100 grams. For reference, that is comparable to chicken breast. The protein content alone would be impressive enough. But moringa also delivers more iron than spinach, more calcium than milk, more potassium than bananas, and more vitamin C than oranges. It is a nutritional anomaly. Traditional communities across Africa and South Asia have relied on moringa as a protein source for centuries, particularly in regions where animal protein is scarce or expensive. It is sometimes called the drumstick tree or the miracle tree. Modern research validates the traditional claims. Studies show moringa supports blood sugar regulation, reduces inflammation, and provides genuine antioxidant protection. The protein is highly digestible and contains a solid amino acid profile. Here is the opportunity. Moringa grows fast, requires minimal water, and thrives in tropical and subtropical climates. The leaves can be harvested, dried, and powdered for year-round use. Moringa got overlooked in Western nutrition simply because it grows in places the Western nutritional establishment was not paying attention to. But the tree does not care about who is watching. It just keeps producing some of the most protein-dense leaves on the planet. Plant 20, Chlorella, the cellular protein machine. And here we are at number 20, the one I saved for last because it represents the absolute pinnacle of plant-based protein density. Chlorella, a single-celled green algae, contains 50 to 60% protein by dry weight. That is roughly double the protein concentration of beef. And the amino acid profile is complete. NASA studied Chlorella alongside Spirulina as an ideal food source for long-duration space missions. When you are sending humans into space for months or years, you need the most nutrient-dense foods possible. Chlorella made the short list. Modern research shows Chlorella supports immune function detoxification pathways and cholesterol management. It also supports overall cellular health. The unique compound chlorella growth factor found only in this algae has been studied extensively. It has been studied for its effects on tissue repair and cellular regeneration. Peer-reviewed journals demonstrate improvements in immune markers. Research demonstrates measurable improvements in lipid profiles and antioxidant status in people supplementing with chlorella. Here is the practical side. Chlorella comes as a tablets or powder. The powder mixes into smoothies, juices, or energy balls. The taste is green and earthy but mild compared to spirulina. A small daily serving adds significant complete protein to your intake. Chlorella has been consumed in East Asian cultures for decades and cultivated commercially since the mid-20th century. It never gained mainstream Western traction because algae just does not sound like food to most people. But the science does not care about what sounds appetizing. The science says chlorella is a concentrated, complete protein source. It is one of the most concentrated, complete protein sources on the planet, and NASA agrees. Think of it as the food so good at sustaining human life that scientists chose it for the most extreme environment, outer space. If you made it all the way to the end of this video, you have just learned something that changes the protein conversation entirely. The idea that you need meat to get serious protein is not just outdated. It is simply not supported by the nutritional science. These 20 plant foods are not niche supplements or exotic curiosities. They are real, accessible, science-backed protein sources. These sources have been sustaining human health for thousands of years. Some of them cost pennies. Some of them grow in your backyard, and several of them outperform the most expensive cuts of meat on the planet. So here's what I want you to do. Smash that like button if this video changed the way you think about protein. Drop a comment below and tell me which plant protein surprised you the most. Are you Team Legumes, Team Seeds, or Team Algae? I read every comment and I love hearing from you. If you have not subscribed yet, what are you waiting for? Hit that subscribe button and ring that notification bell so you never miss a video. We are connecting real science with practical knowledge, and I would love to have you on this journey with us. Remember, sometimes the most powerful nutrition is not in the butcher case. Sometimes it is in the garden just waiting for you to look at it with new,